When I was growing up, there was a huge self-help movement. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People came out in 1989, Rich Dad Poor Dad in 97, 48 Laws of Power in 98, Getting Things Done in 2001, 4-Hour Workweek in 2007, Thinking Fast and Slow in 2011, 12 Rules for Life in 2014, Extreme Ownership in 2015, Deep Work in 2016, Atomic Habits and Can't Hurt Me in 2018. The OG, How to Win Friends and Influence People, came out in 1936, but that late 90s to 2010s era was the most distinct. To me, the most notable was a blog called The Art of Manliness, which started in 2008. And while many may now cringe at the name and the idea of it, it was actually the least cringe and most informative out of all the men's blogs and podcasts. And I'm not even talking about the menfluencers of today. I'm talking just normal blogs, just with a side of cringe. Look up Order of Men. I'm sure it's a cool blog. I cannot get past the 2 hatchets. Not to mention the beard, the slogan, oh my god. Nowadays, it seems that most self-improvement related stuff has mostly devolved into satirical memes and singular motivational Instagram posts. But the truth is that people still desire to be better or become the best versions of themselves, however you want to word it, even if they don't express it so outwardly. We want to be more confident, we want to be more charismatic, we want to be more disciplined. In fact, with how cyclical the ideas of the world are, I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years the world will go from this sort of red and black pill tinted state to a more white pill kind of view. At any rate, this self-improvement culture promoted this romantic idea of developing the entire person with all of their characteristics. And those characteristics can include very tangible things like developing your body. But very often, self-improvement is focused primarily on the very inner, less tangible characteristics, like the aforementioned confidence, charisma, and discipline. But also things like bravery or patience or learning to be more present, or even more niche things like let's say if you're a gamer, first of all, but also you might be focusing on developing precision with a mouse or reaction time in general, as opposed to just getting practice in the actual game. Often self-improvement devolves even into the actually just completely bonkers, out of touch with reality things, like in the year 2024, I want to have a healthier relationship with myself. And these are all things that when you look up to someone, you want to be a little more like them. You're thinking of these qualities. John was a great leader. He was always so organized. Dave had so much integrity. Carly always looked on the brighter side of every situation, etc. Now, developing characteristics like bravery or patience may sound like a very noble goal, but I'm going to argue that it's a bad goal. That this distinction between tangible and non-tangible qualities really exists, and discipline, among other qualities, is not like a muscle that can be trained. Before we go any further, let me first lay out the thesis of this video. Self-improvement can essentially be one of these 3 things. First, there's physical change, and that includes physiological change like hormone changes, stamina, and such. Second, there is influence coming from the change of the environment, including not having sweets in your house when you want to lose weight, the people you hang out with, even the influence of the color of your home's walls on yourself. And finally, there is psychological change, or you could call it maybe neurological change. So a change in perspective, mindset, understanding, learning, practice. That's it. Anything else, like discipline as an intrinsic quality, cannot be developed. The mindset on what you can and cannot change has changed so much in the last couple of decades. I remember even a couple of years ago, if there was, for example, a presentation on how to give better presentations, there would always be either a question from the interviewer, if this was a podcast, or it would be a question in the actual presentation that's like, and can you develop these qualities, or is it just something that you are born with? And it would be something like speaking with more intent. And it's like, dude, come on. You can just go and do that right now. It's just so funny hearing that in the 21st century, asking whether people can really learn something new in the 20s and beyond. Like, can't teach an old dog new tricks. Especially when most people attending that lecture probably came here exactly to learn that thing. But just like way back then, people apparently didn't think too much whether something can be learned. It appears that nowadays they still don't. I remember at one point I was doing a general intelligence test, not IQ, and the person was reviewing my results, and some one aspect came out fairly low. And I asked, can this aspect be improved? And she said, well, certainly it would take a lot of hard work. Like, fucking kill me. Do you know that I have a self-improvement channel? I mean, maybe I didn't back then, but again, we know that people can learn new things. It's not the dark ages. But another problem is that she didn't even question it. Anything is possible. And it's like, do people even know what an asymptote is? Do people know what a logarithmic function looks like? Oh, if you just lay one brick every day, sooner or later you're going to have a house. Except that's bullshit. An average house needs 10,000 bricks. That would take you 27 years. Maybe that makes sense to you, but by the same token, you could say, if you just lay one brick every week, sooner or later you're going to have a house. Which is no longer true at all. You're going to die first. And still, if you couldn't build a house laying a brick every day, would you? No! No one does that, except the Amish maybe. Get a job, make some cash, and have someone else do it for you. But even if we're talking about the possibility itself, some things are just straight up impossible to change. And you can probably see why I asked that question in regards to a general intelligence test, because IQ for once cannot be changed. You can lower it with bad health, but we can basically say that IQ at some point can be treated just as a constant that can only get debuffs. Trying to increase your IQ is a fool's errand. You might get better at the tests, but that's not going to transfer into anything where a higher IQ would be beneficial, like solving math problems on a test. In fact, you might as well just practice solving math problems. It's a little bit like the functional strength movement that was popular around 10 years ago. Nowadays, it seems all the smart people are doing bodybuilding style training or just straight up strongman or powerlifting. Geoffrey Veritis-Schofield had a video about why hypertrophy training is functional. There's Mark Rippetoe's two-factor model, which says that sports performance is just the physiological adaptations, strength, stamina, etc., plus practice. Strongman is cool, but carrying Atlas stones makes you better mostly at carrying Atlas stones. If you wanted to get better at carrying couches, people, tires, etc., you'd probably get results faster just by strength training and practicing carrying couches, people, and tires. If you're treating functional strength like a video game stat, sure, then if it actually is, that would be great, because it's a good investment. Invest time and effort into developing one quality and get results on many qualities based on that one, rather than investing time into developing those secondary qualities separately. However, you're betting so much on this whole thing being a connected system with one underlying element. It just doesn't make sense. It's unreasonable. There is no functional strength other than just strength and practice. There is no general charisma or confidence or discipline, and there is no Queen of England. It's no wonder why self-improvement has gone from developing discipline, charisma, and general physical capability to looks maxing and making money from dropshipping. Just like functional training is dying in favor of straight up bodybuilding and powerlifting, so are the ideas of self-improvement dying in favor of, well, actions of self-improvement. Strongman may give you some functional strength beyond the regular strength training, but mostly it gives you one thing: glory. Let's go back to the thesis of this video. Self-improvement can only refer to tangible things. This may not be in line with many people's experience, but there are other reasons why training discipline makes you more disciplined. For example, you could just be thinking about discipline more and making being disciplined your goal because you believe that that is good. And so that brings doing actions of discipline to the front of your attention. And of course, it kind of doesn't matter whether discipline can actually be developed or if it's other factors, if the results are there. But if you, for example, hit a wall in terms of discipline, or you've been meaning to start running consistently every day for 6 months and you cannot bring yourself to do it because you don't have enough discipline, why bother? Try finding something else that you actually like and just get on with it. If it doesn't work, maybe try going to the gym and running on a treadmill, which might make you commit more. First, just get healthy. That's your number one priority. Use any and all hacks that you have available. Then, once you have that, you can start thinking about developing discipline. Or, better yet, just do something else. Work towards a new objective, like learning programming for the job you want to apply for. Discipline must always be added on top of all fundamentals. Set yourself up for success before applying any willpower. If you want to lose weight, first, eat almost exclusively protein so that you're too full to eat other things. Eat a lot of low-calorie vegetables, a lot of fiber. Don't eat when you're not hungry. Don't eat palatable foods. Don't keep palatable foods at your home. If you like the taste of food, just buy zero-calorie condiments and noodles and keep that up for at least a couple of weeks. And then, even with all that, you're still going to have some moments of weakness. But have those moments going from 10% body fat to 7%, not from 20 to 15. Those are not hacks. These are just basic things that are reasonable to do. Sure, you can say that hardship makes you stronger, but you probably wouldn't say that getting kicked in the nuts while studying makes you better. It just distracts you from your actual goal. There was a very good video by the Bionic called Cold Showers Are Overhyped, which was really mostly about how discipline is overhyped. It's a great video, so check it out. Also, coming back to what I said about how one of the things that can actually improve you as a person is hormones, the Bionic also had a video about how testosterone is overhyped, and it's true. Often testosterone is studied as nootropic, basically, making you more driven, grab life by the horns. And going from 300 nanograms per deciliter for a guy to 700 will have huge benefits. But will going from 500 to 2000 via external injections have any effect on your personality? I don't know, maybe. Though it may not be exactly that beneficial. It may make you more aggressive, but it may just be physical aggression related to going uber hard in the gym. But you might find that doesn't exactly transfer to making you more motivated to clean up your house. Now, that's super physiological. Will going from 600 to 700 make any difference? Most likely not in the slightest. Now, with all that said, the Bionic also had a video about brain training, which also plays very much into the unified theory of self-improvement, developing the less tangible qualities. And he was actually rather positive about that one. But again, how much are you willing to bet? With most things that we don't know that can reliably be developed, if you dedicated yourself to trying, you're probably going to find that you indeed cannot. Now, before closing, I also have to add that even though I was mostly negative about non-specific self-improvement, the idea that you can change anything if you try, that discipline can be trained and that pain makes you stronger, almost to the point of delusion, is extremely convenient in a good way. It's actually a good attitude to have if you can also manage to intuitively make good decisions. When you have to do something hard, you do it without thinking because it's good. You're not thinking maybe there's a better way, be it more optimal or just requiring less energy, which you can put into something else. It's very efficient altogether to not think that. Even if sometimes you may succeed in optimizing something, it's only one thing in 100, and you've wasted too much time overthinking. And you're constantly split between two ideas. There was a study that suggested that working 70 hours a week produces the same results as 55, but we don't know if the selection of these people had anything to do with the results, or the selection of work given, etc. It may be a convincing argument for changing policies on work hours, but it doesn't tell us jack about what is actually happening. That's not science, not even soft science. That's just a guess at best. I want to close by repeating this point. If you're going to have problems with willpower, confidence, or other soft qualities, have them in a mansion with $1 million income and six-pack abs. You might have to scale that back a little bit, but you get the idea.